What's up, everyone? I'm going to break down the Recline Row. This is another one that I can't believe I haven't made a video of this. Not the greatest lighting, but it'll make the point. Recline Row is basically just a standard row, but rather than me pulling a weight, I'm going to pull my body. It's pretty simple. We're going to use gravity. Gravity always will exist, so wherever there is gravity, you can do a Recline Row, as long as you have something to hold on to. So I'm going to run a clip and we'll break it down. Okay, so I'm just going to pause it there. So the first two that I did, I'm starting for, we'll just say my feet are further back away from the wall. The only reason why I scooted forward is I want to show you. If you want to make this more of a challenge, obviously you scoot your feet forward. Just make sure you're wearing, I would usually turn in bare feet, but if you're in socks or something, you might slide. So just make sure that you have something to grip against the ground. So like most drills that I teach, the hardest part about the Recline Row is not actually the rowing part. It's making sure that your body is staying in a rigid line. So you can see that my body is in a nice straight line. As I pull, let's back this up. As I pull, I'm still in that straight line. So basically I'm holding a plank, right? It's like an inverted plank. As I'm rowing, there's a lot of other muscles that are going to try to jump in there and get me forward. It's like there's some bigger muscles that are like, hey, if you just do this, you'll get there easier. But the idea here is that we are engaging everything. We're tensioning up the entire body so that as I pull, I don't need to worry about the wrong muscles trying to jump in there and kick in. And I'll show you what that looks like in a second. So again, if I want to make this harder, I just scoot forward, and now, even just a little bit of a scoot forward, you will feel a difference. As you are pulling through, easiest way to think about this is imagine that you are trying to elbow a punching bag behind you in slow motion. So a nice fluid motion. I'm finishing through with my elbows. So let's go ahead and look at what this should not look like. I think when we look at it, how we do it the wrong way, it'll kind of make the right way make a lot more sense. So I want to run clip and we'll break each of the common errors down. Okay, so that's the first common error. I'm going to back it up. This is a simple fix. So if I go back to my, we'll just say my good rep, I'll use the term my shoulders are packed right here. My back muscles are nice and tight. Just imagine if you were in the push-up position, you're in a rigid position, your shoulders are set to lower you to the ground. This is no different. When I do it wrong, immediately what you'll notice is that I've completely, I'll say, just dumped my shoulders. You can actually see that they are protract, they are hunching forward. Now from here, I'm not going to get into the details of the biomechanics behind this, but basically, as I do this, I'm not really pulling with my back very much. So I'm able to get myself forward. This feels terrible on my shoulders. I'm overloading some commonly injured tendons in my shoulders. I see this one a lot. Easy way to fix this is just think about reverse shrugging. Push your shoulders, keep your shoulders away from your ears as you are rowing. If you do that, that will more or less solve this one. Let's watch the next common error. Yes, this is the beefcake row. I am using only my arms here. Again, I tell people, focus on the bony part of your elbow. Focus on that driving backwards. Here, all I'm doing is a glorified, crappy-looking bicep curl thing where, as I'm pulling, my elbows haven't really gone that far backwards. They do a little bit, but they're not ending up behind me. You can see my arms are in this super flexed position. And really what you want is from your elbow all the way up to that anchor point, that should be a straight line here. You can see that I'm bent, right? So if I'll back it up and show you one of the good ones. For the most part, and my angle is not great because I'm doing a pretty easy one. For the most part, I can draw a straight line from that anchor all the way down to my elbow because I'm pulling from my elbow, not my hand. So again, if I go forward, almost there. Here we go. There's my beefcake curl. I'm just doing a reverse bicep curl here. I'm not saying you shouldn't do those, but that's not what we're trying to do here. This is supposed to be a shoulder retracting, back strengthening exercise. Again, easy enough fix. Just try to keep your arm in a straight line with the rope and pull with your elbow, not your hand, if that makes any sense. Okay, let's watch the next error. This is probably the most common one out of all of them. So going back, I talked about your body should be in the plank position. When I finish this, I'm not ending in a plank. I've completely disengaged, I'll say, all the muscles that are holding my spine in a straight line. So as I'm pulling, what you'll notice is that rather than me essentially driving my chest through my hands, what I'm doing is I'm just pulling and letting my core disengage, and you'll see my stomach kind of kegs forward. My back goes into this hyper arched position. I start pulling, super huge arch. If I was wearing a tighter shirt, you could actually see how arched my back is, but I mean, you don't really even need to. You can just look here and go, oh, that looks terrible. That is in a massive, massive, again, we don't want that. That's not any fun. So a lot of people will do this and they're like, yeah, I felt it in my back, but I felt it more in my lower back. I want my body to be in a straight line, and you can clearly see here I'm in a nice, terrible arched position. This one's tricky because I always tell people, keep your chest open and proud as you're rowing. You know, big chest. If you had a logo in the middle of your t-shirt, I should be able to read it clearly. You know, no wrinkled fabric. It's hard to do that while keeping your core engaged, but don't confuse the two. Don't think that your chest is open, therefore I'm rowing. When you're rowing, you really need to make sure that your body is still holding that plank position. So again, let's watch that last one more time, because I think this is the one that you will probably find yourself trying to do accidentally. Okay, that is the Recline Row. Hope it was helpful. Again, don't overcomplicate this one. It's a row. You know, you can do it right very simply by just making sure that you start off at a decent, we'll say, resistance. Don't overthink it, but also think about it. No shrugging. You're pulling with your elbows. Butt stays tight. Core stays activated. Just think about, am I in a plank position at all times while I'm rowing? I guess the last thing is check your shrugging muscles. You'll find that your shrugging muscles are under a ton of tension. Keep your shoulders down away from your ears. Those muscles really shouldn't be overactive. This should be, I'll use the term, like a contracting, like a pinch, almost like a pinch feeling right between your shoulder blades. That's where the contraction should be, not in your neck area. All right. Best of luck. Stay strong.